Good morning, all. This is Karthik here. So, today is a new day, and I'm going to talk about something that might make some sense because it's happening everywhere. So, the topic today goes towards what is our life and what are we looking in life. So, here, what I'm going to start is that the world is very competitive. Once you start your day, you might have known that somewhere at some point you need to be competitive to survive. So this competition is not towards the love towards each other, but it's towards the wealth, because everybody hope wealth gives them love from the people. So if they gather too much of wealth, they think that some people come to them and they might somehow at least fake by showing love to them. But what happens is wealth accumulates a fear of losing that wealth. So it's not really giving you that real understanding towards love or how much people care for each other. It's just that people who own it always feel that they should not lose it out to some level, and the people who thinks they are sticking to someone who are having wealth always thinks an alternate plan. If they lose the wealth, they have to move on. So love may not immediately give sensual gratification, but it heals the soul in subconscious mind. I mean that, sometimes people think that love comes at a cost. What is love? There is a definition of love changes with each people. So some goes towards love making immediately. That's how the movie industry has celebrated it always. Love has a different definition over there, a template. But this is very different what I'm talking about. Love is about the amount of care that you give for the neighbor soul, the nearest soul that you think in your life. And also you expect and deserve the same amount of love back. So this is the definition that I'm talking about here. So in that sense, love may not immediately give the sensual gratification or the kama, which is in Sanskrit, they mean the sensual gratification, not the physical pleasure, not just the sexual pleasure, but it goes beyond that. Material pleasure and every sensual pleasure in a physical level is the one that people look for, but actually it can give you a temporary satisfaction, but you will always long for something else. The change in the longing, again it repeats. So to get a satisfaction in being not getting changed in your expectations is love. Love may not immediately give that sensual gratification, but it can heal and provide you a fulfillment to the soul and subconscious mind. So one more thing I like to say is that love defines the value we hold towards our existence. So in this way, I'm trying to say that, every day you begin a day and you started to do things that matters for you. When it comes to say that matters for you, that you do a self-love, like you love yourself, you love your existence. So you have to do something for yourself. Everybody likes to do the self-love to themselves. As a human, we are ready to live in different situations in the society. There are people in poverty and pain, but not ready to self-kill to avoid the poverty and pain, which means they love themselves for their existence, though they know that the pain is something that is the cost they pay for the existence here. So what I'm trying to say is, we need to self-love ourselves. At the end of the day, every poor or even the bottom of the society in an economic level, a person is there and he still has something in his corner of mind that he needs to self-love. That's why he doesn't suicide or die himself. He just wants to survive the poverty. Though he knows that life is not a permanent thing. At the rock bottom of the mind, we have a inbuilt thought that we need to self-love ourselves. And all these changes around us depends on that. How much you self-love yourself and how much comfort you have to provide for you and what you want in your life, all matters how much you love yourself. If you stop loving yourself, there are people who sages and gurus who know that the physical world is temporary. They want to get the higher consciousness. They don't care about the physical thing much. In that sense, when you stop self-loving your physical identity, the world becomes not so interesting for the people, and expectations should also be less. So generally, food, sex gratifies the physical dimensions of a human being, and even the animals, I think. But the give and take of care on each other, the lovable ones, and the give and take of respect and love, the closest people, gratifies the soul and makes us feel self-worthy. So we need that. And also this question always runs in my mind: who is a better human? Is it like a wealthy person is a better man, or a healthy one, or the lovable ones? So you have to decide in your life like which gets a priority on top, because the priority matters here. You can get all this to some levels, but the sequence and priority really matters. In my point of view, you need to get very lovable people who are happy and good around you, and then you need to get health. Then finally, all this should provide you wealth. If the sequence changes, the time to disassemble them, or suddenly it will falls off. The structure falls off so easily. But the sequence, if you follow like the way I said, the least of the least that you get is the lovable ones around you, which is the most necessary one on this planet. While existence to very definitive term, people consider existence as they know that they will die or born, and that's the change in the dates might vary, but everybody knows that birth and death is permanent. In this case, we can say that's what God is. We need to measure the purpose of life with the value of self-love we have on ourselves. Right? How much you love yourself and what you do for that matters. That's how the life travels. We were not born to consume everything that comes across us. If you start a day, you doesn't need to go watch everything or listen to everybody, or doesn't matter. There are a lot of junk around the world, and it will spoil your mind, but I'll explain how it goes through. So we get amplified by the direction of thoughts to which we let our mind to consume. So it's a process. Every day we are into an habit because we repeated it, and it's a process. If you let your mind, the thoughts that are coming into your mind, to flow in a direction, no matter what it is trying to consume whatever it comes across it, like sadness, bad news, good news, and you don't have a filter towards or control over your mind. It consumes too much that you couldn't process and assimilate and try to take some decisions and results. There are some things that you have to take key things into head to make a decision, but if you're consuming too much of junk and it's getting amplified and your direction of thought becomes senseless, you don't know where you end up with too many thoughts. Some of them may even not be very potential or useful, so you need to have a real control over there. And in this digital world, we should understand that physically life to experience is about traveling and seeing through and feeling the nature around us, and at the same time mentally to practice the highest control over the direction of thought matters. I'm trying to say is two dimensions of every existence here. As a human, we need to see through physical body. As a physical man, we have to physical women, girls, kids, boys, everybody. As physically, you have to go through the world and experience it with your vision, senses, and all that. At the same time, mentally, you have to evolve better to practice yourself to keep a control over the direction of thoughts. Your thoughts should not flow in any random direction without your control. So once you can do that, these two things, you will feel very fulfilled until the death arrives in your life. Death is permanent, we can't avoid it. But we don't need to worry about it, and for the people who are worrying, for the others who don't care also, should think about that there is a end of life. So before that, how we can get fulfilled in our life is by attaining these two controls, physically and mentally, like how I said earlier. Thank you everyone for listening to me.